Before I start the interview, I would just like to give a brief introduction about you for our viewers. Ravi, as a serial entrepreneur, you have always been driven by bringing businesses and people together, which creates value. At Fish People Consulting, you believe in practice building long term associations based on win win rather than on transactions, which is so true. I have experienced it myself. You care for professionalism and excelling in whatever you do. You have learned a great deal through valuable life experiences while working in IT and service industries. And your top skills include executive search, talent acquisition, and business turnaround.
I would say extremely so. Extremely
Yeah.
so. I felt very secure, very safe in that environment. Um, I didn't even hear, I mean, to the extent that about any such wrong or sexual abuse, anything happening in the ecosystem or vicinity. No, I think it is much more than we guess. Okay.
Would you like to give it any number
Yes,
or any
yes.
percentage?
I tell you what, those statistical numbers don't matter, Smith. In my opinion, what happens is there is a big issue of deniability and a stigma attached to it. Uh, and that becomes the easiest route for an elder, for a parent to not to have to face the problem, because these problems can become very messy. What is certainly known is that child sexual abuse, most of the time, if not always, is done by a close family member. So, in case of that situation, a mother may have to face that it was maybe her brother or her husband or her husband's brother who was guilty of this. So, it is easier for her to ignore it and make the victim a criminal. And
Have you ever been in a situation of denial about something like this in your life?
I will confess that yes, um, when my children complained to me about the one tuition teacher, Arabic tuition teacher, behaving inappropriately, I must confess to not taking it seriously and telling them that just because you don't want to study Arabic, you are making an excuse. Uh, I'm ashamed of the fact as to how much stigma, how much of trauma I might have caused them because of my idiotic denied attitude. Like I said, being a parent is not easy. You learn to be a parent. You learn
Yes.
by making all the mistakes. So I have certainly guilty of the same thing.
So subsequently, have you had a conversation with your children about
Yeah,
this?
subsequently, after a couple of more times, and then my wife and both discussed, we agreed that there could be a genuine problem. Then I said, I will not talk to him behind you. I went in front of them, I confronted him. I said, as of now, I'm not reporting you, nor am I sacking you from this position. But if you touch my children once more, I am telling you, you're sacked, and from here, you're going straight to jail.
But why didn't you report him?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe to avoid controversy, maybe to avoid stigma, maybe to avoid my children being exposed as people who were sexually abused. I don't know. Easy way out. I think I took the easy way out against Mita. That's about it. And I felt like a hero telling my children that, see, I told him in front of you.
But did you have a talk with your conversation with your children after that about how it made them feel and what they feel about it now? Any kind of trauma that they might have experienced?
All the time. At that point of time, we did not go in it. But I did tell them that henceforth, if anything, even the hint of it happens, you'd come back to me. And I'm promising you, I'll take it more seriously. But this was maybe what, 10, 15 years ago. Now my children are both adults. Okay, 18 certainly sensing qualifies adults. Now they come and tell me that my behavior has caused them trauma, that they were suicidal at one point of time. Okay. My ignorance, my mistakes, my lack of willingness to take action and not taking them seriously could have caused untold damages. It did cause damages to my children, to their psyche. Now they assure me that the trust component is not lacking. They still trust me. They'll come to me, and they also appreciate that a parental job is a learned job. It is not a, there's no handbook given that we are told to do, and so on. Uh, I'm not sure about it. I don't. Certainly, I failed as a parent. Certainly, I failed as a parent, which is something not something I'm proud of. I'm ashamed of that.
So, Ravi, I have to say that I truly, truly thank you for your courage and your strength in sharing this with us at this point of time. I wouldn't say that you're a failed parent at all. I would say that right now, what you're doing is going to inspire so many parents who are going to be watching this to take the action of believing their children and actually taking it forward and securing their childhood for them. So
And
I
certainly,
wouldn't call you, I truly, truly appreciate and value what you're doing right now. Thank you so much for that.
I hope it, even one parent takes his statement of the children more seriously. That will be enough. Making a difference in small quantities also would be okay. And here, Smita, is that uh, it needs to come out in the open. The taboo, the stigma needs to go away from here. And it needs to be seen as what it is, a crime, an absolute horrendous, despicable crime. The unfortunate part is that India, the carpets are very, very large. And we're able to keep on finding things to brush under the carpet, and it is not seen. This becomes a psyche of India. This becomes a problem of. It may not be India alone. Whatever I have read about it, it seems to be a global issue.
Yes.
Child sexual abuse is underreported everywhere, and even when it is reported, most of the time it is not taken seriously at every stage. At every stage, from the parents to the authorities to the schooling to everywhere, the child has to constantly prove, go through multiple inquisitions to prove a point. And the sympathy of the people usually is with the accused, not the victim becomes the accused, in other words. This is a prevalent problem. Carpets are big everywhere. Things can be brushed very conveniently under the carpet. Benefit of doubt is given to him. It can't be. I know he's a nice guy. He's a nice person. He's the person who gives so much to charity. He's the person who helped me when I was in the hospital that time. He spent all night with me. And you are accusing him of assaulting girl, 18-year-old girl. Come on, not possible. The girl is imagining. ये मेरा भाई ऐसा नहीं कर सकता. It's forbid the thought. I know him better than you can know him, and so on. The point is that it's easier to deny than to take action. What I wish will happen is that the, the daughter goes to the mother, they take it seriously, mother goes to the father, they confront, they go legal, they find therapy for the child, tells that he was not wrong, and they actually put the person behind bar and shame him. That is what I wish will happen. What is more,
And when you
what is likely to happen is nothing. Nothing. झूठ बोल रहा है ये,
and
ऐसा
that
कुछ नहीं
is
हुआ था. बच्चे हैं, imagine.
and that is what is the scary part, that
That is a scary part. In fact, even in the options after watching the movie, I kept on, the options were limited by virtue of that. I wanted to say this is what should happen, but will not happen.
yes, what should happen will not happen, and that is exactly what we want. We want that what should happen.
Precisely. Let us correct that. Let us correct that. Let's remove the stigma here from the child. The child is a victim. Victims cannot answer for the crime. The person who perpetrated the crime should answer for the crime. And if any parent ignores it, they become accomplices. They should be charged as such. Safe space, secure, when you feel comfortable, when you don't feel threatened, when you don't feel under any obligation to prove anything to anybody. Uh, I'm not perhaps able to explain it, but that perhaps would be it. Equality is equality, as simple as that. Okay, whether there cannot be a better word describing than equality. Nobody can be discriminated against. Nobody can be treated differently for any reason whatsoever, and that is something I sincerely believe. I'll tell you what, it could start with something as the word innocent. I'm about to use the word innocent, which is not the right word. No, not innocent. As trivial, not a starting point, as grouping. I think it usually starts there. That is what my children had accused the tuition master of. Okay. After that, it becomes what I will call the salami tactics. If that is not reported, then they become sort of part of the co-conspirators. तुम मत बोलना मैं नहीं बोलूंगा देखो साथ में कर रहे हैं. Then another salami can happen. It can go one step further. It can become undressing. It can become whatever. And then after a while, the child starts taking the guilt in his or her mind. The child feels guilty. Therefore, the child will certainly not confess because he believes that he or she had done something wrong and it will not be accepted. And very often, oh, it becomes a how do I say a negative vicious cycle that can happen. It can start very small and end up in, I would say, rape. I am aware of it. I need to do something. Uh, Spread the awareness, talk to people, uh, try and propagate our discussions more. Uh, all of them is still reactive. None of that may come within the measurability of smart. In terms of measurable reaction to that, we may not be able to get. Uh, Frankly, I would love to do something. I don't know what. I'm willing to be guided there. Straight, absolute. My home, I would say. I mean, home, I'm an action.